This is feedback on the question set for homework May half term, question 3B from the 2011 Germany paper. The question is based around this particular source, and we talked before the holiday about the source. So in the foreground we have this guy here, who clearly is designed to be a brown shirt, a Nazi SA stormtrooper. You can see he's got the Nazi cap on. And in the background we have a body on the floor. So I think we have to assume that this person here is designed to be a dead body. The exam board have kindly translated the German for you, so you don't have to be a German specialist, and they've told you that this means Germany awake, and you can see that there are various kind of swastikas plastered on the wall. The figure of the Nazi is very much a skeleton in clothes. He's skeletal in appearance, and probably is made to represent death. So the cartoon is drawn by German communists, January 1931. We're in the peak of the kind of voting. Hitler is increasing the share of the Nazi seats in the Reichstag, but he's not yet in power. And the question that was asked is, why was there opposition to Hitler and the Nazis between 1930 and 1932? So this is opposition before he becomes Chancellor early in 1933. The source is only one of the things that you need to talk about if you're going to answer this question. If you have a look at the mark scheme, you'll see there are 3 levels because it's an 8-mark question, and level 3 is talking about explaining more than one aspect related to the opposition to Hitler and the Nazis. And what that means is that they are looking for you to talk about more than one reason or more than one reasons as to why there was opposition to Hitler. Now, they would regard the source as being one of the reasons. So you see it says in source in level 2 that level 2 considers a singular aspect probably based upon the picture offered. So if you make an answer saying that there was opposition and you explain it around what's in the source, then that will be somewhere within level 2. And it does say and or mentions other aspects related to. So you can potentially get top of level 2 5 marks just by talking about what the source tells you in terms of the opposition to the Nazis. Alternatively, if you maybe mentioned that briefly, use the source quite briefly, and then give another reason, that would also probably put you in level 2. In order to get level 3, what the exam board were looking for, if I just make this a bit bigger, one or more aspects apart from those suggested in the picture. So in order to get level 3, you needed to give 2 other reasons for opposition beyond the source. And here you can see that they suggested the anti-Semitism meant that they got opposition from the Jews. Groups on the left wing of politics did not like the policies. Now, this is an overlap because when they're talking about the left wing, they are ultimately talking about the communists, and as we know, the source is from a communist person. But they've allowed where you've talked about communists as opposed because of the difference in their political viewpoint. Provided you don't then refer to the source, you can have that as one of the reasons. They've then gone on to talk about Social Democrats, people's view of Hitler as being comical or irrational or dangerous or that sort of thing. So they've given you a number of different reasons there that you could have possibly used in addition to what it tells you in the source. So if we have a look at some answers, here's an exemplar answer. Firstly, there was opposition to the Nazis because many people believed that they were going to kill. Bit vague. I'm not convinced people did think they were going to kill. I think you could maybe make the argument that people were worried about their violence. However, this person has gone on to say this is represented in source G, as on the one that says Germany awake. The cartoon is trying to warn people at also time to wake up because the Nazis are going to kill. So there's a definite reference to the source and about why there was opposition. Even if the reason for the opposition isn't that good, it's still using the source. Furthermore, there was opposition to the Nazis because they were bullies on the streets of Germany, spelling mistake there, that violently punished anyone who was to stand in the way. So again, we've got a second reason why people might have been opposed. Now this person has linked it back to the source again, but I think it's a different reason to the first reason, so I think it potentially ticks the box of more than one aspect. We then have another section, if I just get rid of that, make this a bit smaller. Secondly, we can see from source G there was opposition to the Nazis as Hitler just simply because of the way people viewed them. And again, we've got a reference to the source again about it being drawn as a skeleton. Clearly, this is representing death in the opinion that Nazis are violent murderers, should be murderers. There's another ER to be had in there. In conclusion, overall, this backs up the opinion that these violent murders are killing innocent citizens, yet Germany are obviously doing nothing about it. Not great. Some good points in here. I think where the positives lie are that there's more than one reason. The person has attempted to give different reasons for why there was different opposition. I think there could have been a discussion about opposition from the communists or from other political parties. I think the second section, or the third section rather here, I think the way people viewed them could have been linked to the violence and the ideas that they represented. So people were opposed to them because they didn't agree with the things that Hitler was saying about the Jews or about Germany's position in the world. But I think this is a solid level 3 answer, that there's a definite good use of the source and there's definitely other aspects considered. One final one to look at, and again we need to make this a little bit bigger. This is in 2 sections. We can match them up, something like that. Despite their rise to power, Hitler and the Nazis still faced opposition from many different people. Firstly, other political parties, such as the Communists and the Social Democrats. So there we've got one aspect. These left-wing political parties thought that the Nazi Party had violent methods, believed the way the Nazis wanted to run the country was unfair and wrong as it did not promote democracy. Now, in fairness, the Communists weren't big fans of democracy, but the Social Democrats were. So we've got some political groups, we've got why they were opposed to the Nazis. That alone is level 2, at that point there. No reference made to the source yet, but it's an aspect of why there was opposition. They also faced opposition due to Hitler as an individual. Many of the Germans did not trust Hitler and his policies. He was often seen as a little bit mad and very dangerous. I possibly wouldn't use the phrase little bit mad in the exam, but you could say that he was regarded as irrational, potentially dangerous. That's a second reason given as to why people were opposed. Finally, the Nazi Party faced opposition due to their anti-Semitism and other discriminative and racist views. So here we have a third reason of why people were against the Nazi Party. This answer hasn't referred to the source, and I think it is important that you do that where they give you a source. But quite clearly, it must fall into level 3 because it's done many different, or 3 different reasons why people were opposed to Hitler. And I think for that reason alone, it's a definite level 3 answer. It's not top of level 3. I think they would, in order to give 8 out of 8 for this particular answer, they would need some reference to the source, either connected to one of the 3 reasons already given, maybe about the dangerousness, or as a separate kind of 4th section. But obviously you need to be careful of time. So I hope that's helpful in reviewing your answer and seeing what you could have included to maybe just improve and push your marks a little bit further up.